Hey guys, thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be taking you through a warm-up. Now one thing to note is that there's so many different ways of warming up and everyone's got an idea about how to do it, so please don't take this as the gospel. So the main thing you want to think about is getting your heart rate going. This is going to allow your body to pump oxygen to the different muscles around your body a little bit more efficiently and prepare it for what's to come. It's going to allow the body to be a bit warmer for that and a little bit safer going into it. You also want to think about movement prep, so whatever you're doing in your workout to come, you want to be doing movements that will kind of help that. The second is movement prep. So you want to think about priming the body for the movements to come. So for instance, if you're going to do some squats, it'd be worth sitting in a bit of a squat sit, it'd be worth getting into the hip flexors, worth warming up through the glutes, just to make sure that that's all kind of firing when you need it to. The third one I would say is doing a bit of core and glute activation. So this is one of those things where we kind of just assume that our body just wants to work how it should work for us. So abs switched on, butt switched on, as much as I'm rocking ready to go, squats, let's go. It's one of the most dangerous things that we can do is just kind of go in with that mindset and go cold, not think about the muscle groups that we're working, but priming the body through things like core activation drills or glute activation drills is going to get your mind and your body talking a little bit more to one another. So without further ado, let's get started with the warm-up. Start in a squat sit position, so we're just going to be in a squat. We actually spend a lot more time in our squats than we do. It's just kind of like Western culture has kind of taught us out of it, so don't worry if you need to come onto your toes a little bit if this gets too much. Just start to feel into the hips here, just working one way and the other. Perhaps you've been sitting down a lot. This is a nice way to just kind of get into those hips, see how they feel for now. From here, I want you to take it nice and slow. You're going to start to straighten through the legs. Don't worry if you can't touch the floor or straighten the legs just yet. You're just going to start flowing in and out through this movement, squatting down, lifting the hips. And what you'll start to feel is those hamstrings starting to switch on a little bit, starting to lengthen. Just take a couple more like that, just whilst we're starting to feel into the body a little bit for now. And then from here, just come back into your squat position. From here, we're going to work into all fours. So wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Take a couple of cat-cows just to warm up the spine a little bit. So from here, on the inhale, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together, tailbone lifts. On the exhale, start by doming the upper back. And I want you to start to think about your spine as individual vertebrae that you want to move in isolation. So you're kind of articulating each part of your vertebrae. It's very challenging to do. We get very used to moving our body, or kind of upper body and lower body, without that kind of bit in the middle. So see if you can start to accentuate that a little bit. It's going to be kinder to the spine when we're moving in a second. Exhale back and inhale, lift. Inner elbows pointing towards your fingers. Just take a couple more and lifting. And last time, exhale. And lifting. From here, just slowly start to take yourself back into all fours. From here, back in all fours, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're going to work into what we call bird dog. I'm not actually sure why they call it that. We're going to work into bird dog. So from here, start taking your right leg back, your left arm forward. And what you see if you look at me from the side is I'm trying to keep my fingers and my hip and my foot in alignment. Think about pushing the right heel all the way towards the back of the room. My ribs suck towards my spine, so engage the core. Inhale, reach forward. On the exhale, take your elbow to your knee. On the inhale, reach forward. You're going to take a couple more rounds like this. Maybe a couple more. I'm a bit mean sometimes when I say a couple. Exhale in. Inhale to reach. We're going to take about 10 on this side. And then we're set up to do it on the other side. So I'm really starting to create a connection between my upper body and my lower body. This is the diagonal sling of the body. We want it to talk to one another efficiently. Just even doing this every single day, most days, is going to help with that. Let's take the last one here. Exhale in and inhale to reach. And we'll take the other side now. So main thing to think is just taking your time with this movement, thinking about left glute switching on here, pushing the heels to the back of the room, reach the arms forward. On the exhale, start bring your elbow towards your knee. Inhale, reach forward. And exhale to bring your elbow to your knee. Again, a few more times like that. Definitely not a couple, quite a few more than those. Exhale in, inhale to reach. 5 more times. And we really can't do enough of these It's one of those exercises that a lot of physios give. Lots of trainers use it before we go into our sessions. Super nice way of waking up the core, the glutes. Last one. And now come all the way back through to center. We're going to work around the hips a little bit more now. So from here, bring your left heel to your bum. Imagine you're squeezing a tennis ball between the heel and the bum. You're going to create a giant circle of the hip, but keep the engagement through the hamstring. You're going to bring the left knee all the way out to the side, and then all the way towards your shoulder. You're going to take this movement nice and slow and steady, and you'll notice you might want to have a tendency to lean onto your right side here. Actually, see if you can centralize this as much as you can. And then we're just working the motion as much as we can around the ball and socket of the hip. You know, your hip's a nice big circle joint, so we're working the circles around it, just starting to prep the body for movement around the hip. Take it to the other way. Main thing to think about with these is if you start to feel any pinching sensation going on when you're doing this circular motion, you want to skip that part of the circle out. It might be a bit of a sign about something that you need to get possibly checked out by a physio. Not worth crunching through that. Just take one more. It's actually quite challenging. On the other side, we'll take it now. So right heel towards your bum. Imagine there's a tennis ball between there. From here, take your right heel to the sky. Big circle of the hip. I'm trying to isolate it as much as I can to the pelvis and the hip socket, not the rest of my body. I'm not allowing my waist to wake up to try and use the waist to get it back and around. That's an easy way to cheat it. Just take a couple more in that direction and we'll take it on the other way around. Just keep that tension through the rest of the body. This is so good for our bodies to do generally, even if it's not just a warm-up. Imagine it's like flossing your joints, getting rid of all that kind of stickiness around them. All right, relax that. From here, we're going to come onto our back, a little bit more glute activation drills. From here, you're going to take yourself into a bridge position. From here, bring your feet hip-width apart, and then you're going to bring your left knee towards your chest. I want you to drive down a lot through that right heel. The lower back tucks right under, so rather than this kind of gap, lower back tucks under, pelvis tucks under, knee towards your chest, then drive through the right heel as you come back down. And what you're going to start to feel is that right hamstring, right glute is really starting to switch on. And I would go anywhere between 10 to 15 of those, see how much you have time for. But ideally, you'll do this a few rounds over. You just can't really do enough of them again. Just starting to wake the back body up. Can get a little bit lazy with our kind of day-to-day life where we sit down so much. I'm not saying you're lazy, it's just generally most people. I don't have a desk job, but I still spend a lot of time sitting down to eat, sitting down on the train. Just take a couple more like that on this side. And from here, let's switch over to the other side. So knee towards your chest, right knee towards your chest this time. And you're going to push through the left heel, but also through the left big toe mound as well. So see if you can equally spread the weight between the feet. As you drive, you lift, hamstring, glutes engaged. Slowly lift and soften. Again, we're going to take about 10 to 15 of these. Depends what you're used to. But you want to be aiming to do as many of these as you can, kind of in most of your training. It's a nice way to get into the body. You have 3 more. Last 2. And last one. Good. From here, roll yourself all the way over. Come up to a plank position now. So from our plank position, step the feet back. Dome the upper back as much as you can. So squeeze your bum like crazy. So you see my shoulder blades are coming away from one another. It's going to keep your hollow body position. You're going to step the left foot forward, left elbow to your toe or anywhere near it goes. From here, open the chest. And then we'll take it to the other side. So left leg back, right foot forward, elbow to toe, open the chest. And take a few rounds like this, just starting to get into the hip flexors a little bit more. Also into the chest and shoulders, around the middle of the spine. Just getting that movement, one of the nicest movements you can do before your workouts. A couple more times like that. I'm going to do one last round. On the other side. From here, just step back into your plank position. Walk yourself back into your sit squat position. And then you're going to drive through the heels. Bring yourself all the way up to standing. We're going to take it a few times now. So tumble into your squat position. Roll back into your plank position. Release to the ground. And then from here, just start to push your knees to the ground. You're going to come into your push-up position. Come back, plank position. Just whilst we start to warm up through the chest muscles as well. So even if you do a lot of push-ups, this is a nice way to slowly warm through the shoulders, keeping everything nice and stable. Of course, if you want to start going into your full push-ups, you can without the knees on the ground. Just working through the chest. I'm going to keep my knees on the ground. If your knees are on the ground, think about squeezing your bum, that diagonal position of the body as you come up and down. You can take 3 more like this. Come down. Release, knees, left, come back. Last 2. I'm just working all of the different movements of the body, even our wrists here. Last one, all the way down and lift, come back, squat position. Bring yourself up to standing. Next time we're going to work a little diagonal rotation here. So from here, come into a lunge. You're going to start to turn towards the leg that's in front. Come up, other side, towards the leg that's in front. Take a few rounds like this. Just starting to work on the rotational capacity of the body. One of those things we often forget, but it's so fundamental. I have a little bit of a bad toe, so excuse my wobble on the left-hand side. Damn, rock climbing. No, rock climbing is life. Just take a couple more times like that. Breathing through the different motions. Last time. Last one we're going to do is a Cossack squat. So you're going to step back, knee comes out, 90 degrees. Bring yourself up. Few rounds like this, just starting to work into the adductors, so the inner thighs. Chest is still lifted. So 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Last one we're going to do is the shoulders. So whenever you're ready, you're going to have one of your fists clenched, feet driving down through the ground. Imagine like you're squatting, so you're pushing down through the ground. Create tension on the left-hand side with the fist. You're going to take the arm all the way up, and from here, just start to reach it behind you, just as far as you can go without the rest of the body opening up. Allow the palm to face towards the outside of the room. Eventually, the little finger points forward. This is a little bit of a coordination one, so don't worry if it takes you a few times to get this. Your main focus is keeping tension throughout the rest of the body. This is called irradiation in the body. This is just allowing us to work around, like what we did with our hips, so working around the joint, the shoulder joint. Again, another ball and socket. So good to get all the way around it before we get going. Just take a couple more like that. Main focus is not opening out through the chest, so you're keeping your chest forward, all the way back and up. We'll take it on the other side. And like I said, these are not definitive exercises, especially if you're doing things like your upper body focus day. You want to do a lot more focus on the shoulders here. This is just quite nice for a total body warm up. This is the last thing I'll do with you. But from here, go away and do some pulse raises. So whether that's jogging on the spot, skipping, anything that will get your heart rate up. I've done a little bit of that throughout these movements, but much safer to make sure you've done a couple of minutes, 2 to 5 minutes of pulse raises as well. All right, and jobs are good in. Have a great workout. Let me know if you've got any feedback. I'm always available at kimhartwell.com or on my Instagram at kimhartwell. Feel free to drop me a line or any feedback, any comments, anything you want a little bit more help with. I'm here to help. Love helping people, love movement, so please do get in touch. Have a lovely rest of your day. Happy workout. See you soon.